Hello everybody and welcome to Gregg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm working to restore history one piece at a time. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at part 3 of the GE404, and in part 3 I'm going to get it hooked up and we're going to fire it up, and then it actually works, believe it or not, but it had some issues with the way it was playing that I decided I had to fix. If any of you have read my narrative in the beginning of my channel, you'll see where I say, if I can't fix it, I can certainly make it worse. Well, that's going to play true with this radio. And hopefully you guys will be able to give me some ideas of what you think. I think it's going to need a new IF transformer. I think I screwed it up. Anyway, you'll see what's going to happen here, and we'll go from there. So, have a look-see, see what you think, let me know. Thanks. Okay. Let's get this plugged into the multifunction panel variac. Let's make sure the radio is off. It is off. Turn the multifunction panel on. No, I guess I'm not. Flip my main switch on. There we go. Turn the overhead light off. Now I'll flip the multifunction panel on. Reset the circuit breaker. We'll start giving it some voltage. We're going to take it up slowly because all the new electrolytics in it. Let's take it up till we get our meter come on about 40. We're on right now, there's 40. 42 volts right there, drawing 50 milliamps. I guess I could have put a DC meter on this. Probably should do that. I'll go ahead and shut this back down. Let me get a meter hooked up. Okay, so let's try this again. I've got my DC meter hooked up here. We'll flip this on. Make sure the radio's on. It is. Flip this on. And now we'll start giving it some current. Reset my circuit breaker. Alright, so we got about 38, 39 volts. AC, 50 milliamps. Nothing on the DC voltage yet. Turned up a little bit more. It's about 50 volts. 50 milliamps. Yeah, I'm not getting a DC volt. There we go. Now we are. Okay. So it took a minute for that to charge up to the caps, I guess. It looks like we got about 2 volts DC and climbing slowly. We'll let it take its time. Give it a little bit more. Take it up to, there's 659 volts. 60 volts or 60 volts AC, 60 milliamps. DC volts is climbing. Got a little bit of glow in the bulb here. DC volts going up kind of slow, but we'll see what happens. Crank it on up to about 75 volts. AC, we're up to 90 milliamps. DC volts climbing a little faster now. Hearing a hum out of the speaker. Turn it down a little bit. Take it on up to about 90 volts. You can still hear the hum in the speakers. Turn it down a little bit. About 77 volts DC. take it on up to about 100 volts, and then we'll see if the radio is going to do anything. There's 100 volts. About 180 milliamps. I'm going to turn this slightly so you guys can see me turning the radio. I don't have the dial string hooked up yet. So I got 100 volts AC, I got 90 volts DC. Did nothing. Oh, wait a second. Whistle there on it. That would be my local station, 1450. So we got that anyway. Let's go ahead and give it some more power. I'm going to take it up to 115 maybe. There's 116. There's 17.
Members can now save up to $5,000 on the purchase or lease of eligible Cat machines, including new loaders, small and medium dozers, backhoe loaders, excavators, and more. Farm Bureau members also receive an additional $250 credit to a tax purchase with new Cat machines. Now visit your county Farm Bureau offices for more information. From your front door to your back fence, Ranger's got you covered. Farm Bureau members receive discounts with everyday needs from batteries to light bulbs to cleaning supplies. Check out
Okay, I guess for a first power up, that's pretty decent. No hum with the volume down all the way, but a little bit of squirrel going on, so obviously it needs to be aligned. So let me do some work on it, get it aligned, and we'll bring you back. Okay, so my dropping resistor came in. It's a 39 ohm at 10 watts. This is it here. Came with the wires already on it, that's kind of nice. I pre-drilled it for 632. I pre-drilled the side of the chassis here to line up with it. I made a little template out of paper, so it should go in there and screw in. Now, how I came up with that 39 ohm 10 watt was this program here. that I have on my phone, voltage drop calculator. So I put an input voltage of 129, an output voltage of about 117, 118, 116, and a current draw of 300 milliamps. Now, the radio had been drawing about 250 milliamps, but anyway, it came up with 40 and 3.6 watts. So 10 watts should be, almost 3 times the amount, and a 39 should be pretty close. We'll find out exactly what we do wind up with once I get it all hooked up. But I'm going to hook it up there and we'll see what we get. Now I do have some heat sink paste that I really like to put on there if I can find it. Found it. I had it in the drawer with all of my diodes and rectifiers and all that good stuff. We're going to put a little bit on here. Don't take much. It's going to smash out anyway, and it makes a mess. So but I'll give it a little bit of heat transfer capabilities. Now if I can get it on there without making a complete mess of things. Let's see if we can get this on here. That one. Now, screws are a little bit long, but I don't have anything shorter than 3/8. I'd probably be better off with 1/4 inch. But I don't have 632s in 1/4 inch. Go ahead and screw these in. I think those will be fine. I might put a drop of super glue to lock the threads and call it done, but it looks pretty good in there. You see? So let me get it hooked up electrically. I'll bring it back and we'll see what it can do as far as dropping. Okay, so there it is from this angle. Looks pretty good in there. Got the wires all hooked up to the places that they need to go. So I'm about ready to hook a meter up to it. Hook the MFP up to a meter and see what we've got for voltage coming out of the resistor on this thing based on voltages, internal voltages in the house. One thing you'll probably notice in this view though is that caplet that was in here is no longer in here. That wire's sticking up. Anyway, caplet's no longer in there. Main reason was because I was doing some checking on it and one of the caps was open on it. There's 3 caps on it. One of them was open. And so I just decided since one of them was open, I'd just replace them all anyway. The detail that come with the radio told you that if one of them was bad, you could replace the whole thing. And the values to use. This mica cap here was one of them, which it had to be a mica cap, and then the other 2 were normal ones, so that's what I got in there. So if it looks different, that's why. So let me stop this, hook up my meter, and we'll do a voltage check. Okay, so apparently my meter on the MFP is on the fritz and doesn't want to work properly. So we're going to use this meter. I kind of propped it up. I hope you guys can see that okay. So this is the input voltage right here that's coming into the radio. It's probably off by about a half a volt or so because right now MFP is showing 125 volts. Mainly because the AC in my house is running. I think it's pulling some voltage down. But we're showing, we'll say 126, 125, 126. So if I come in here, you're not going to see where I'm stabbing in the radio, but trust me, I'm stabbing in the radio in the right place, I hope. Alright, so at 125, 126, 125, we're running 116, 117. So I'm going to turn the MFP voltage down to 117, 118, and the radio's running 107, 108. I turn it down even a little bit further to like 114, we're down to 104. So my household voltage never drops, anything like that. So the radio voltage is 105 to 120. So at 114, we're 105. If I go to the max, again, 124, 114. So the dropping resistor is perfect for this particular radio. Okay, so I'm getting ready to do the alignment on this radio. And so I've tacked in a 0.47 microfarad cap right here onto the 12BA6 grid, which is pin 1. And I tacked on a 0.056 microfarad onto pin 8 of the 12SA7. Those will both be for the 455 kilohertz inputs to calibrate. The 1600 calibration will be with the loop, antenna loop. So let me get the signal generator hooked up and I'll bring you back. Okay, I've got the signal generator hooked up to the first cap, and we'll be feeding a 455 signal into it. We got it closed. Pretty sure I got it closed. Let's turn the radio on. Alright, so I'll be tweaking the T3 coil. I'm going to try and keep the volume somewhat low. I'm going to focus on my meter over there as we do this. I'll zoom in so you guys can see that better. I'll try and keep the volume as low as possible. Okay, now I'll move it over to the 0.05 cap. Now I'll be tweaking the T2 transformer. Okay, so then that just leaves the oscillator and antenna screws on the actual tuning capacitor. So let me see if I can get set up for that. So I wasn't very happy when I did my power up with the reception I was getting out of the radio. I actually did run through the calibration on it, and I wasn't getting much change out of this T3 transformer. And there was one spot that I could I could get it and then it would be gone, or I could move it slightly the opposite direction, it'd be gone, and I suspected silver mica disease. So if we look at the schematic here, and our T3 transformer here, right here, it's got mica capacitors, 100 picofarad, 2 of them here. So I went ahead and I took it apart, and sure enough, it had silver mica disease. The mica sheets, the silver had migrated around the perimeter. I had the black silver mica disease on it. So I had taken a Scotch-Brite and my X-Acto knife, and I had scraped all of that off and thought that that might take care of it. And when I put it back together again, I had nothing. Right, it didn't work at all. So I assumed that I must have shorted it. So what I'm getting ready to do now is I'm going to take it back apart, and I'm going to just kill off those caps completely and replace them with external 100 PF caps. So let me get that apart here and I'll show you what I got. Alright, so I've got it out of there, and you can see actually I put some sleeves on it from where I did before, where it comes out of the case or out of the chassis, because I didn't, these wires were getting kind of frayed. I'm probably just going to replace these wires this time around with this piece of work. I changed the little resistor in there, which is right here, the 47K resistor. I changed that. So now I'm going to have desolder these wires off of here. So this section here is the section with the mica on the green yellow section, green yellow and black, and then this section here just has standard mica caps in it, no silver mica. These are the ones with the silver mica. So let me get these wires desoldered and get this back apart. As you guys can see how fine those transformer wires are. So difficult to keep from boogering those up. Hopefully I won't booger it up. Alright guys, so I got the green and black wires off, and I got my coil wires off, which as you can see there's just as fine as hairs. It's like doing microsurgery trying to get this stuff apart. So now I'm ready to go ahead and see if we can get this pulled out of here. Let me back out a little bit. Alright, and I'll try and get those pieces out of there. Now the actual screw and washer has mica on it as well to isolate it. Alright, it's coming apart, so let me get this, or keep it from falling apart. Alright, so you can see the mica on those washers hopefully. Now as you see that one there, I'll zoom in. You can see the mica sheets here. This has no silver mica. These are just mica sheets. There's two of them there. Let me get this where you guys can see this maybe. Alright, and then this one is going to come out next, hopefully. Now, there you can see two mica sheets that just fell out. These are the silver mica sheets. These are the ones that I scraped. There's two of them there. That one you can still see there's a little bit of black around that edge. I'm sorry to get you guys out of camera. This is the other terminal if I get it out of there. There it is. Let me get off screen for a second, take a closer look at this before I start getting ready to figure out where I'm going to put my external 100 PF capacitors. Okay, so what I did was I went ahead, you saw me take it apart. I started looking at my schematic, and I think I actually had one of the silver mica sheets on the wrong side of one of the plates when I reassembled it, so I'd screw up on my part. But what I did was I got my little device that checks for shorts that was a schematic that I made off of Don at Restored Oil Radios to check for shorts. It'll check for the finest amount of shorts. I forget how fine of a short, but a very fine short. And I'm connecting between just to make sure I don't have any continuity between any of these. And let's see if we can do this where you can see it. So I'm going to the two terminals here. There should be no continuity between those, and there's not. I'm going between this one and the one back here, and there should be no continuity in that, and there's not. And then I'll go between the one back there and this one. There should be no continuity there. and there's not. So I think we're okay. Let's try this one and this one. So I think I may have it now. So now, what I need to do, let's go ahead and get my resistor hooked back up. Each of the little fine wires from the transformer hooked back up. And I think I'm going to put some new leads in here because these have been jacked around so much now. I'm not feeling real great about them. But I may not have to put any external capacitors on that. I had two 100s out over here that I was going to use, but since I got the civil monkey disease off of there, and since I think I put up the plate on one side was wrong, which is why I think the radio became dead, I think that I may have it resolved. Not saying I do, but I may. So let me put new wires on this, put the cam back together again. Well, I have to tell you, I feel like a microsurgeon after getting all those wires and those little hair wires soldered back on there, but I got it all on there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to just check our continuity through our various coils there. See if I can get you zoomed in on the meter there. Get you where you can see. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is go between the red and the blue, which should be the primary coil. Alright, between the red and blue, 23.53, 23.5. Now the schematic, if I remember correctly, says 34. No, 30. It says 30, but obviously a little bit of difference in how it's adjusted, but it's not open, so that's good. And then we're going to go green to yellow, but I believe green to yellow. Let's see what we get. It may be conflicted with the, yeah, it's reading the 47K resistor in there. About green to black. It's open, so that's good. And if I go green to this terminal, there's our other one. Alright, so you guys see where I'm touching them on this one right here. It's on the back side of that resistor, so I'm reading that one. That's also 23.5. So on my schematic, they're both equal, and they both equal. Okay, guys, so right now I've got my signal generator connected to the radio here. I've got, right now it's currently on the grid, which is pin 1 of the 12BA6, and connected to the chassis here. And as you can hear, if I turn it up, I've got my 455 tone coming through. If I swap it over to the 12SA7 grid, which is pin 8, which I have over here, and these are going through capacitors of the proper size right now. This one that's on here right there is it's a 0.47 microfarad. I didn't have 0.5, so I used 0.47. And this one over here that I just connected to is a 0.056. Supposed to be a 0.05, but it's close enough. And as you can hear, as I turn this on, it's got a good signal coming through it as well. Now I have gone in to my T3 and adjusted for the best tone signal coming in, so everything's looking good there. However, let me show you what happens when I do the other portion, which is the inductively coupled to a radio loop at 1620. Now right now the radio is in fully meshed position, and so I'll put it up to 1620 and we'll see what we get with the radio loop. So currently I'm running through inductive coupling, and when I turn it up and my mesh is fully open, we're also pulling the signal. But as you can tell, I've got the volume up full. If you watch my mesh, the radio's dead silent all the way through the tuning dial. Got nothing. So I'm at a loss. I tested the tubes. I changed a few out. And nothing makes a difference. I mean, it is humming. You hear that. But the radio appears to be dead. So I don't know what I did that would have caused that with the T3 IF, because I'm getting my 455 through. I can pick up 1620 with it fully meshed up. I'm not sure. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Otherwise, she's going to be relegated to a very beautiful shelf queen that can Bluetooth. As you can see here, I've added a Bluetooth box. I haven't got everything hooked up inside yet. I printed out the box. I made my attachment. This was after not being able to pick anything up, because I want my daughter to still be able to use it, and she Bluetooths it to it anyway. So, but that's where it's at. So I'm going to go ahead and end this particular video, and you guys give me your ideas. So from Greg at Gregg's Vintage Workshop, thanks for watching.